I want to talk a bit about the RNG manip in Stranded Isle, and not because I want to discuss the mechanics of it, whether or not it's possible. That's not really important at the moment. But when Hollow Knight and I and Armin were in that call last night, and Hollow Knight was like, hey, I'm getting consistent results across different seeds for like RNG. That was kind of crazy. That was kind of scary. And it changed the way that I thought about Stranded Isle. Mainly because, you know, with most speed games, generally you don't want to you want to fit the game around you want to fit the rules around the game, right? So, for example, let's take a non-speedrunning example. Super Smash Bros. Melee. I will not get mad at the Ice Climber player who wobbles. The solution for that is not, oh fuck, like Ice Climbers are boring, Ice Climber players are lame. They're being optimal. If you're not wobbling as Ices, you're not playing optimally. So what do? You change the rules because wobbling is lame. Ban wobbling. Or like Jigglypuff stalling. Like I won't get mad at a Jigglypuff who stalls. In response to that, though, if you don't want Jigglypuff to stall, you change the rules. You add the ledge grab limit or the airtime limit or whatever, right? Um, and so to take a speedrunning example, Ocarina of Time. If you watch any Ocarina of Time speedrun, um, like Ace or whatever, it's not uncommon to see comments that are like, oh, this doesn't count, they're using glitches, like it's not the way you're supposed to play the game. And I think as speedrunners, we can all agree that's kind of stupid because there's a place for people to use glitches in speedrunning, and then there's a place for them not to. And that's where we fit the rules around the game. We restrict certain glitches, or in some cases, all glitches. It's it's just what we do. We fit the rules around the game. Although with an RNG manip like this, that is not entirely possible, and it's almost impossible because RNG manip is just playing the game in a certain way. Like it's not exploiting a glitch or anything. Like it's very easy to say, oh, don't use this glitch where you clip through a wall or something, like, stay in bounds. It's much harder to say don't play in a way that influences your RNG in a positive manner, because the way that we understand it at the moment, like your RNG is influenced by mostly, it seems, the number of frames between starting and collecting resources. So it's a time frame thing. It would be impossible to separate the RNG manipped runs from the legit, like, not the legit runs, because RNG manipping would still be legit, but from the runs we have at the moment, it would be impossible to separate them without it being sort of arbitrary and not really, like, there's no solid line. That's what I'm trying to say. There's no solid line between RNG manipping and playing the game normally. And so my initial guttural reaction was that this is a bad thing. It's like, well, no, I don't want my time to be on the same leaderboard as the Hollow Knight who is RNG manipping the whole seed, right? Like that's not something that that would be good. Um but so that's coming at it from a sort of purism angle, which I don't like. I think that's a bad argument. It's it's almost like when I started getting into Stranded Isle recently, and I started to appreciate what the game had to offer on a more meta level. I think that the RNG manip would take away part of that. The fact that Hollow Knight and Armin, Czar, I think it would be reasonable to say that, Armin could get world record, Czar could get world record, um, which is like to say that I'm not necessarily saying that Czar is a sub 5 level player, but he's so close that with another month of Stranded Isle play, I think all three of them will pretty much be on the same playing field. Um, but distinctly, Aramin, Hollow Knight, and Czar all played very differently. Um, they play different, they make different decisions, and they could all get world record. If you could RNG manip, a lot of that would be lost, and then you would also be getting the world record that way. Like, it would not be really possible for someone who does not RNG manip to then get the world record. You know? So it's kind of this thing where it's like RNG manipping would kind of take away that quality where it's like, well, we have all these play styles and different ways to approach the game that would then be stripped away if there was an optimal set of collection order or whatever that would manipulate the odds to be better. It would kind of fucking suck. It wouldn't completely disappear because the seed is still random, so you would have to react to that and there would be decisions to make, but it would be much more confined. There would be much less freedom in that, and overall, I just think it's not a very positive thing. For the sort of like the freedom of players, and then like the thing is, yeah, we can still play the game the way we want to. We don't all need to RNG manip, but if you want world record, that's if RNG manip is human viable, and I'm strongly in the party that I don't think it will be, but if it is human viable, then that would be that would be the only way to world record. Because even if, let's say we find out that it is human viable, but nobody grinds it, nobody wants to do it, that's not a good ending either, because it just means that everyone has collectively decided that they don't want to go as fast as they can. They just want to do it in the way that they think is best, I guess. And there's a place for that. But I don't think... I think it would be upsetting to have this RNG minute proven possible and then for no one to pursue it. It would be emotionally cathartic for Hollow Knight, who came to this speed game from the start and got the first sub 6 and then got the first sub 5 and then got a 4:43, which is a ridiculous time. I can see how emotionally cathartic it would be for Hollow Knight to do that, to break the game, and like the aspect of the game that has caused so much adversity is the RNG. Armin, for probably like 2 or 3 months, had all the skill he needed to sub 5. It was so within reach from, if we want to talk about the three pillars, Armin had the knowledge and the execution. It was so within reach for him for so long. The only adversity was the RNG. And so for Hollow Knight, who had a very similar journey, Hollow Knight was able to sub 5 way before they did sub 5. You know what I mean? For Hollow Knight to then break that aspect of the game would be incredibly. It would mean something. It would. It would be a very different way to PB and Stranded Isle. It would be playing a very different game. But, like, I see the value in it. So I want to say this. I'm not very optimistic that RNG manip is possible, like human viable. I don't think that's going to happen. But if it is, and if we prove that it is, it would perhaps be the greatest P-Craft tragedy for Hollow Knight to not do it. Or for anybody to not do it. Because what was it all for? To prove that it's possible and to not do it? What was it all for? So while I am not enthusiastic about the RNG manip, I can wholeheartedly say that I am behind Hollow Knight with this one. That I know that if RNG manip is discovered to be human viable, and I know that if Hollow Knight does it, Stranded Isle will persist. P-Craft will persist. Because it's not just about the players overcoming adversity. You know, when Zar PBs, when I PB, when Hollow Knight PBs, when Armin PBs, or when anyone PBs, they overcome some sort of adversity. And the closer you get to that perfect run, you know, whether you get a sub 5 or whether you're just going for maybe a sub 6, the closer you get to the time, the harder it is. It's so much easier to get a sub 7 than a sub 6, and it's so much easier to get a sub 6 than a sub 5. But before you get to sub 6, right, before you actually get there, it feels so difficult. Before I got to sub 6, it felt so difficult. It felt so hard. And now that I've done it multiple times, actually. I've sub 6 probably 6 or 7 times, just trying to PB, you know? So it's doable. So what my point being is that, yeah, like, players overcome adversity, but the community does as well. I remember when Hollow Knight got the first sub 6, sub 5 felt like it was so far away it just wouldn't happen, right? Sub 5 felt like it was impossible. And so I said, Stranded Isle is dead. Because even if you PB'd, it wouldn't be... we would never get to that next milestone, you know? And then there was a period after Hollow got the sub 5 that it felt like the community was dead. there was a period where no one was running the game, and shortly after there was a period where only Armin was running the game. But it took months for Armin to get close to sub 5. So it took even longer for Armin to actually get the sub 5. So it really felt like Stranded Isle was a dead speed game. But it's not. It is so healthy at the moment. We have 5 active runners, according to speedrun.com, which I guess would be Hollow Me, Czar, Evan might count. The point is, like, the game is alive. Czar is pushing sub 5. I'm on my own journey. I'm not really keeping up, but it's not a competition. The point being, Stranded Isle will persist. I don't think that an RNG manip strategy would kill Stranded Isle. Will Stranded Isle be the same? I mean, no. It will never be the same. But it'll persist. And I'll say this, Hollow, if you ever do RNG manip a whole run, or at least enough of a run to make such a significant difference that a sub 4 is in the cards, or even just a low 4, that will be the most impressive feat in the Stranded Isle community. It'll be harder than sub 5. It might not be as beautiful as sub 5 was, but it'll be harder. It'll be more impressive. And I want you to go for it. And although I said that Stranded Isle would die when you got the sub 6, I feel very comforted in the knowledge that Stranded Isle will not die because of an RNG manip. See you later.